Hi, my name is Ellie and today I'll be discussing the search strategy I conducted in order to attain relevant research studies for the following child language clinical scenario. The mother of an 18-month-old girl being raised as a simultaneous bilingual child, her parents each speak a different language, asks you whether both she and her husband should continue speaking their home language to their daughter. She has had mixed advice. One person told her that hearing two languages at such a young age will be too confusing for the child, while another person has told her how beneficial it is for a child to grow up hearing more than one language. What will your advice be to this mother? From this scenario, I developed the following PICO elements. Population was young children, the intervention was bilingual exposure, and the comparison was monolingual exposure, with the outcome being the impact on language development. Following this, my next step was to form a relevant, specific, answerable clinical PICO question, which was, will simultaneous bilingual exposure compared to monolingual exposure impact on the language development of young children? I designed this question to ensure that my search for information relevant to my clinical scenario was targeted, efficient, and accurate. It was important to consider the range of search terms that may be used in the articles I was sourcing. Therefore, I used medical dictionaries, the La Trobe Library, and Google to source the various synonyms of my PICO elements. The next step I undertook was creating a PICO concept map with all possible search terms and search enhancers such as Boolean operators, truncations, and wildcards. For population, my search terms included young child, infant, child, toddler, or preschool child. For intervention, bilingual, multilingual exposure, bilingual exposure, multiple language environment, or dual language exposure. For comparison, monolingual, monolingual exposure, unilingual, single language family, or English language family. And for outcome, language, language development, or language outcome. To find relevant studies to address this question, I use the following databases: SpeechBite, ERIC, and Language and Linguistics. I use the NHMRC hierarchy to rank the level of evidence of each study. Based on the clinical scenario and the type of studies I was searching for, I use the etiology column to rank their level of evidence. The first database search I conducted was using SpeechBite, which I accessed through the La Trobe Library. SpeechBite provides a catalogue of best interventions and treatment efficacy across the speech pathology practice. I clicked on Advanced Search and used the keywords bilingual and monolingual and selected language from the speech pathology practice area. I also selected under 5 as my age bracket. This search produced one article that was later disregarded for more relevant studies. To broaden my search, I reduced my keyword to bilingual and kept the age bracket under 5. This search produced 8 irrelevant articles to my research question. Following my lack of success in finding studies from SpeechBite, I decided to move on to the Language and Linguistics database, accessed from the La Trobe Library. I decided to keep my search terms broad at the beginning as I did not want to miss any relevant studies. My first search included young child and bilingual or multilingual and monolingual and language development. I used correct phrase searching, commas, and truncation. I searched these keywords in abstract. However, this search produced 7 results, which was fewer than I expected, although I found one relevant study to my research question. Following the lack of results from my first search, I decided to use more generic search terms and include both databases, ERIC and Language and Linguistics in my search, which is an option in ProQuest. My search terms included child or infant and bilingual and monolingual and language, and I selected English as the language. This search produced 835 articles, and after skimming through the titles, I decided most were irrelevant. I decided to change my search terms yet again with the aid of my PICO concept map and knowledge that I had gained from skimming through the titles of previous searches to guide my choice of keywords. I used toddler or young child or infant or preschool, and bilingual or dual language exposure, and monolingual or unilingual, and language development or language. After coming across many irrelevant articles focused on language impairment, disorders, and hearing loss, I decided to exclude these terms from my search using the Not tab. This search produced 119 results, and after sorting through them, I found another relevant study to my research question. After some playing around with different keywords and going through the results, my most successful search included the terms of child or infant or toddler, and bilingual and monolingual, and language development or lexical development or vocabulary, and excluded impairment or hearing. I used both databases and searched the keywords in abstract. This search produced 177 results, where I found my remaining 3 relevant studies. Throughout my search process, I used the NHMRC hierarchy to rank the level of evidence of the studies to help me determine whether they were relevant and applicable to my research question. The top 5 studies I found to be most relevant and highest ranked, and their main research question were as follows: dual language exposure and early bilingual development, where the main research question was, how does the language development in bilingual and monolingual children from ages 1 year and 10 months to 2 years and 6 months compare? This was a prospective cohort study, level 2. Lexical development in bilingual infants and toddlers, comparison in monolingual terms. The question was, what is the difference in lexical development between simultaneous bilingual and monolingual children between the ages of 8 to 30 months? This was a prospective cohort study, level 2. The development of associated word learning in monolingual and bilingual infants. The main research question was, does early bilingual experience influence the development trajectory of associated word learning in infants? This was a cross-sectional study, level 4. The impact of bilingual language learning on whole word complexity and segmental accuracy among children aged 18 and 36 months, where the question was, does phonological acquisition in bilingual children differ from monolingual children at age 18 or at age 36 months? This was a cross-sectional study, level 4. Finally, expressive vocabulary of German-English bilingual toddlers, where the main research question was, are young children learning 2 languages simultaneously weaker language learners than their monolingual counterparts? This was a cross-sectional study, level 4. Thank you for watching this video.